Gotta get a refill. For validation question number 33, D, please mark down a D. How many of you have ever been to a junkyard? We had a lot of those junkyards back in Louisiana, man. Sometimes the junkyard was like right on somebody's front lawn at their house. But if you've ever seen cars in a junkyard, okay, the total car is all messed up, but the front seat of that car in the junkyard is exactly where the manufacturer installed it and in good condition. Think about that. At the junkyard, the front of the car is all messed up, the top's all messed up, the sides are bashed in, but the front seat is in perfect condition. That's why people walk away even from the very worst crashes you can ever imagine, because they're tied to that front seat. It's the center of the car, and nothing moves on that front seat. So if you're tied to that front seat with a safety belt, you walk away. I've seen that many times. Car totally demolished. You've seen pictures, like in the newspaper, it says, would you believe this person survived and walked away without a scratch? How do you like that? Yet you have people come to this class and say, I don't want to do my belt because I might be injured by the belt. We had one guy, one of our best teachers, boy, this is a great idea. What he used to do is he used to take somebody from the class who said they didn't want to fasten their seat belt, and he would have them put on a blindfold, okay? And then he would get them in front of the group, and he'd spin them around like 10 times and say, okay, walk as fast as you can. And the person with the blindfold would say, no, I'm not walking. You know why? They were scared to walk into something at 4 or 5 miles an hour. And he said, you mean you're afraid to walk into a wall at 4 miles an hour, but you drive your car at 60 miles an hour without a safety belt? That solves the problem, because people don't think of it that way. Hopefully, a lot of those people fasten their seat belts now. Now, let's move on. I might wrinkle my clothes. All you need to do really is take a handkerchief, small hand towel, keep it in your car. If you have nice clothes, put it between your belt and your clothes and it won't wrinkle. That's all it takes. Smooths out that area. We had a guy in our class one day, said his wife showed real estate for a living. She wore really nice clothes. He always did his seat belt. She never did. She said, I don't want to wrinkle my nice clothes. So they called him one day, said, your wife's been in a crash, can you come? He went to the emergency room of the hospital, walked into the room, saw her, walked back out and said, where's my wife? They said, she's in there, in that room. He said, no, that's not my wife. It was his wife. He couldn't recognize his own wife. I've heard of this happening before. I've never seen it. He said his wife had gone through the windshield face first, and the impact made her face swell up like 3 times the normal size, like a monster, like this big. The face was all swollen up, and no more teeth. Half of her tongue was cut out. Years of plastic surgery after that, because she didn't want to wrinkle her dress. Think about that next time you don't want to wrinkle your clothes. Look at the other option. I have an airbag, so I don't need to fasten my seatbelt. Airbags will save your life sometimes in a head-on collision or you hit somebody. They save a lot of lives, but you still need to wear your safety belt with the airbag. The way an airbag works, by the way, is there's a little pin about the size of my finger right in front of the driver under the hood, and when that pin is moved, the airbag activates. So in other words, the hood right in front of the driver needs to be hit. So you hit somebody head on, obviously that's going to move, and it makes the airbag activate. Now, on television, when you see an airbag blow up, they show it in super slow motion. It looks like the airbag's there for a long time, but it's not. Do you know that that airbag blows up and then goes back down in the time it takes you to blink your eye? Like 1/10 of a second, it's deflated. Why is that? Think about it. If you're in a crash, you glance off somebody's front bumper, now you're headed for the cliff or the tree on the side of the road. If you have the airbag in front of you, you'll never see it and you go off the cliff. So the airbag blows up, goes back down, then you say, oh, I saved my life, I can drive out of it. But what about that second collision? Now you have no seatbelt on this time because you have an airbag and you're smart. So you get hit, you glance off somebody's head, airbag, whoa, saved my life, tree, oh, wow, dead anyway. So you still must wear your safety belt even though you have an airbag. Seatbelts do a lot of things for you that maybe we don't even think about. 3 things I can think of. They keep you alive, first of all, is what we're all about. Second, though, they keep you from hitting your head. Any doctor that I've ever had in my class has told me that every single crash they see, if a person's not wearing a safety belt, even if it's very slow collision, they hit their head somewhere. People suffer concussions, bad headaches. Your brain will move inside of your head even at 5-10 miles an hour. You're hitting something. So it keeps you from hitting your head, and it keeps you awake, and it also keeps you behind the wheel. Think about that. If you're behind the wheel, I've had 2 people in my class who said they got hit and they started to go up on the side wheels like that. Think about that. You're like this driving your car. If you didn't have a seatbelt on, now you're down there and you start flipping all over. But they were able to do this, boom, right up again.